Cushing's. Cushing, Matt, I saw Shy Girl shared at Cushing's. The last time the stocks were this low was 2007. And we all know what happened in 2007. Well, into 7-8, major rip in crude. Does it happen again? I mean, we've already had a rip here, and Matt, tell me about. In fact, your name now, since the other name that we can't mention has died and gone to Twitter heaven. Your new name, Matt, is the Don't. All right, that's my new name for you. I think it'll stick. How does it feel?
Even my 20-year-old sons and their friends call me Miss Trade.
Well, they're going to have to start calling you the Don't.
Yeah, well.
The Don't. And let's get right at it. The Don't. Matt, markets dictate sometimes what you should be trading. And you've said for the past couple of days, you think, and we've both said, so much of this whole Russia-Ukraine conflict it's just like, what, I mean, I just don't, it's not straightforward. The price discovery is straightforward. All right. And crude has taken a shellacking. Back to my first point, though, sometimes there's other things that are more easily traded, especially in the electronic environment. On the trading floor, people would follow the noise, right? You know, I mean, I remember several times in the Canadian dollar where I first started to fill orders, there'd be 10, 15 people in there, but it got busy. All of a sudden there was 70, 80 people in there.
Yeah. So I said to you this morning when I woke up and saw that crude had traded at 116.56, and I'll bring it up here, that it felt like that was the blow off. It was the European Open, we peaked literally at midnight. So when you see those types of like flash opens like that we had this morning, and again, I don't trade oil that much because it takes a lot of time. Like if you're going to trade oil, you got to, because of the seriousness, one contract, $1 is $1,000. So if you're going to start swinging some size and trade 20s and 100 lots, like you better be involved because it'll rip your face off.
You better have your hand on the mouse.
You bet. And even with the micros, which is, I'm glad they finally have the, versus the QM, they finally have the MCLs, which are great. So you can cut up the risk on that if you're a smaller trader. Right. But I've traded oil for 25 years, and I like trading it, but it's like, and it's in play now. So like I've kind of like in the last week or two, when the NASDAQ's kind of gone sideways, I'm spending more time in crude. And this move today has gone, it really felt parabolic, and it blew off and it sold off hard. It went to 116 and then pre-market. By the time our market opened, which is 5:30, right? That's the old start time for oil, 5:30. So oil starts differently than again the right. Equity futures.
We're talking old pit hours, exactly.
Old pit hours, right? So, but that still opens technically at that time, right? That's the technical open. So, and you can see right from the open, boom, whoosh, straight down. So it had kind of based there at 114, and it went there all the way down to 106.41, Bob. So now you've got a $10.
Let's say that one more time for you people not trading crude, the amount of money involved and the margin required. Yes. Because that moved 114 to
116 to 106, $10 each.
So 10,000 a car.
10,000 a car. Yes.
Crazy. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. And then you had the retrace. That was really the one that to me is the easiest trade, right back to 112, and which was the breakdown line. And it tested it right off the open. Again, everybody's thinking, oh, we're going back to, no, this is a different chart. Like the chart tells me this is not the same thing, especially like you said, when you have a $10 whoosh. Now we didn't take out yesterday's lows, which are down here. That'll be the next, like if that happens, like if we take out 105,
it's over.
I would say it's over, but
right on.
We'll see.
All right, Matt, bring up the wheat while we're talking incredible price discovery. And I want to just talk a little bit about what a thread that I read yesterday. There's a timeline here for spring wheat and corn in particular. Those two things have to be in the ground earlier than the beans.
Yeah, but just so we're just before you say that, let's tell people again the worldwide wheat exports out of Ukraine and Russia to combined is still less than like 12%. So
for sure,
let's set the table, because I think it's going to feed into what you're talking about, which is, we've got another limit up here. This is 3 in a row, 7% moves in a row, right, on wheat.
And here, my point here is this, that the oil might show that maybe this thing is gonna evolve back to normality, some sort of resolution between these two nations. My point is, especially in Ukraine, because they have blown up bridges, and this thread that I read, I mean, you're on the clock now, 60 days max that you got to be able to get into fields, 60, 90 days, let's call it. Otherwise, it's a growing season for a reason. And that timeline closes. We're going to get back into it. Seasons for reasons for seasons. Anyway, the wheat so far is not telling the same story, that there's a quick resolution on the horizon.
Right.
The other thing out of the Ukraine, and I don't think that you can trade it, but if you're a lover of sunflower oil in particular, 85% of the world's sunflower, what a happy little country Ukraine must be in the late summer.
All the
sunflower smiles everywhere you drive. Not happy right now, for sure, and impossible to figure out what the hell's going on. I don't know. But the wheat for sure not telling that same story, that we got a quick resolution.
Let's just look at the weekly on the wheat, just so again people can see this. The old high that we put in the last time grains went this bananas again was March of 08. So the crazy thing is we're right back to, think about March of 08 was the beginning of the end, right?
Supposedly.
Well, of the equity markets. That was right. the beginning. Like that was when that's when everything peaked, and then the equity market crumbled. Right. So,
and the strength in the equity market, I got to tell you, I mean, I had a bad day yesterday, because the hardest thing in my trading is the story. I mean, I'm seeing all these things. How could any of this be good for equities? And
you have to turn it off.
I know.
But the thing
cannot have it on.
But the thing is, like, if you would have turned it off, you probably would have stayed short too, up to about 450. So, we had that pre-market spike today in the NASDAQ, which was just felt like, okay.
I got to tell you something too.
They ran
morning call today.
That to me, this morning was classic. Let's run all the stops. There was none left, and they just hammered it for 400 points.
Let's just talk about that for a second, because the chart, when you brought it up, the NASDAQ in particular, that shorter term chart, it looked just like the gold throw over. It looked just like, how many other throwovers on different time frames have you brought up in the last year or two that we've been doing this? And it's like, yeah, it's a breakout. Sorry, it's a throw.
Well, we're not in a momentum market. We haven't been for 6+ months. So I don't chase stuff. It's a fool's game, really, trying to be in a momentum market. And where are we? We're right back. We just hit balance there on whatever that spike was that took us up to 200. And then we sold off again hard, right? So, like, know the levels. Like, we went to the day's point of control and sold off again. I was offering there.
You know what else I'm noticing in this market, and it's similar to in the pit. This market gets vicious sell-offs. Like somebody has an algo and they need to move a big position, and they're not going to do it all at once. But it tells me that when they are interacting in the market, they got size to do, and they'll say, you know what, I'll sell the S&Ps from 10 down to 90, as many as I can get. Sweep.
Well, look at this. It was at 548. Something hit. Some news hit. Somebody got excited, right? And they literally took it from 266, which was not quite the high from yesterday. The high yesterday was 286, and they ran them 100 points over yesterday's high, 391. But when you look at so I'll pull back a little bit just so you can see. It's like, it's like we barely got over this 330. That was the old high. To me, that and then what I was looking for, Bob, is when we got back to that 266, it paused, but only momentarily, and then it was done. So even if you didn't sell it up here, you could have sold it here back, which was the high from yesterday. You sell into the high from yesterday. And in fact, that's a good sell with a very tight stop. And, you just made
And
yourself.
not only that, I mean, both ways. If it respects it and starts to rally again, you're like, all right, this isn't going to be
You get out, right? You get out and go the other way. But it's to me, that was you didn't have to sell it on that spike, even though I happened to sell it up there a little higher. But I added to it here, which is what I like to do. I like to, pyramid it once I'm in a position and it's going my way. That makes it really easy, because then, my stop's going to be somewhere up here for break even, right? So it's pretty simple. And then it went down. I mean, Bob, it went down 350 points, to your point, and it was
filled out that filled out the value range
all the way down. So it's very and then even, and this is we're basically looking at a 2-day, right? So the 2-day is still holding. When the 2-day goes, I mean, if we get under 14,000 again, then you got to go to the 3-day, et cetera. You go to the 4-day, you start stretching it out. And when you look at the week's action, the week, not the wheat, but the week, really nothing has happened. I mean, again, we just came down and tested the week's point of control. So if you're trading on a week chart, you're pretty bullish about 14,000. The algos were stepping in front of it at 1440, 30, and right, because we got down to 1430. So they stepped in front of it and bought it and took it, then they took it back up. We got Powell speaking again today. I mean, I'm so tired of these guys speaking and telling me they're going to raise rates, and they never raise rates. So it's the same old shit.
The great, it reminds me of several things that I'm not equipped to tell you or say here yet.
Right.
All right, Matt. Man, we covered a lot, like right away. Unreal.
Yeah.
You're firing. The kid's hot.
Yeah.
Let him go. All right, man. Let me share a couple things. And I need to be able to share. While you work on that, let me bring up some breaking news, Matt. Breaking news. Ohio State has not beaten Michigan in football for 824 days. MGO, fuck yourself, MGO blue. I know the Ohio State people will be like, MGO, F you. Muck Michigan, let's face it, Matt. Football is the greatest sport that I like to watch, and we are many more days that the Ohio State will not have beaten Michigan before they meet again in the fall of this 2022 campaign.
Let me also say that the Buckeyes will have their shot in basketball down in Columbus again on Sunday, the last game of the regular season. And we didn't talk about this too much yesterday. We brought it up a little bit, but Michigan is a football school and a basketball school and a hockey school and a lacrosse school. We're 6-0 this year for the first time in program history. 6-0 in lacrosse.
And lacrosse?
Yeah. Now we're coming into the Big Ten season in about 3 more games where we'll probably get our asses whooped because it's the best conference in college lacrosse. With Hopkins, Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland, the top programs are all in the Big Ten. So I'm not getting too excited, but we are a lacrosse school for now.
All right, man, listen, I wanted to share
hockey.
This.
And hockey is rolling into the Frozen Four here. We're getting real close. I don't know if you're aware, but the last weekend, the Big Ten tournaments starts this weekend for hockey. So Michigan is teeing it up, best of 3 in Ann Arbor with the cross rivals, Little Bro from East Lansing. Last weekend, Michigan struggled at Notre Dame and got swept 1-4, 1-2. So, they're kind of limping into the Big Ten championship after winning. They were winning like 8 games in a row. So go blue.
Where are my Broncos?
I was just going to look that up.
Western Michigan University Broncos. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I got a girl in Kalamazoo. I don't have to boast because I know she's the toast of Kalamazoo.
Minnesota State, number 1. Minnesota, number 2. Denver, number 3. Dakota, 4. Michigan, 5. Western has dropped down to 8th heading into the.
And they had been in the top 4 there.
They were number 4. Michigan was number 2. So the Minnesota
they're limping at this point.
Yeah, the Minnesota.
Now, let me bring in some incredible athletic endeavoring. And this is What Is It New York? What is New York sharing? The Steph Curry, and I'm going to blow this up so we can really the Seth Curry of sanitation. Watch this guy go.
First of all, what is he throwing? Was it just like the
Throwing
4-year?
garbage.
No, but was it? It looks like it was the 4-year-old's birthday party. It's so light. I mean, he couldn't do that with my garbage because I packed those things full.
Let me just tell you something.
He would not have the same shooting. Let me just tell you something. He would not have that shooting percentage with my garbage.
He'd have it thrown out back.
Yes, he
Lower
would.
back, unable.
He'd be on the DL immediately.
Come on, stop it. Stop it. I'm having a hard time with technology. I mean, just one thing I noticed too. Remember in the day, the last person that you would fuck with would be a garbage man, right? The last guy riding the back of that truck, giant pie. Apparently in New York, that's still the scene on the ground. You don't fuck with a garbage man. He's hucking bags of garbage 30, 40 feet and swishing them into the back of a garbage truck. Where we are, Matt, in Bend, Oregon, we got the cat in the hat trucks. The guy never leaves he could be in a 3-piece suit. He never leaves the cab. And if you don't do something right with your garbage can, he just drives right by. No, I'm not, but
if it's just a little off, if it's off center,
it's unbelievable.
He can't have the arm come down.
Right. We even have liberal garbage trucks in Bend, Oregon. Like, no. That doesn't look right.
I've been rejected. I know what you're saying, Bob. I feel your pain. I've been rejected.
It's unreal. Garbage man. And
again, it's because I load my can probably too heavy for that fucking mechanical arm. So he starts picking it up. He's like, I can't do it.
What are you cutting up bodies?
Well, I'm not the best with the recycling, so it all goes into one.
Well, it all goes in the dump anyway.
Yeah, it all goes in the same dump anyway. So I'm saving them one pickup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, one more breaking news thing. We don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I did love my response to this. And you don't need to say anything. Let me take it all here. New York Post saying transgender swimmer Leah Thomas says, I belong on the women's team. And Dave Rubin says, no, he doesn't. And I'm going to go further. She actually does belong on the women's swim team. But I would say that in order for that to take place, he or she needs to remove one leg. All right, just cut a leg off and then let he or she compete, because he or she has a leg up actually on this whole thing, and you need to remove that leg up. I mean,
are you talking the third leg or actual leg?
How about both? But going through male puberty is the leg up. All right. It's not, this is not science or fact or fiction. I mean, it is science and it's not fiction. You get a leg up if you get the testosterone boost of male puberty. It's ridiculous.
Well, either that, or again, we allow all the chicks to be taking testosterone before they.
Well, exactly. But that becomes a doping issue.
I'm just saying, even it out.
Anyway, I thought that was funny. Thank you, Dave, for sharing that. What else do we got, Matt? What else do we got price discovery wise?
Well, I continue to say, Bob, that it's not even a stock picker's market. We're still in control of kind of the macro picture. And I mean, you see it every day. Like you see it by the way the stocks behave. They're not piling into Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple every day. They're just not, right? So we're not at a price where the big money is saying, oh, this is super attractive and I want to buy, which I don't know. To me, I find that a bit interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I look at the continued weakness of the Russell. And again, man, this is a longer term story, in my opinion. This is a weekly, monthly story. And we need to get through March. Yeah. And when we get through March and we see how March settles out, my long-term opinion is going to change greatly.
Well, listen, we have the jobs number tomorrow, right? And the last couple have been great. Maybe we're due for a bad one because more time goes on. I don't know. I mean, all you need is a little bit of an uptick. And, again,
but here's my thought, though. Every good story is a story that's going to be sold or need to be sold.
Yeah. And inflation right now is not a good thing for wages either. Right. So
you
it's
know,
not.
it's shocking now to.
I want to. I want to
tank.
talk a little. I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin again because I am short. I shorted it, as you know. I talked about it here online. You know, in the 45s, it's down $2,000, which is nothing in Bitcoin. But I'm riding it. I've got a free trade now, and I'm looking. You know, I would really like to see it kind of get into this hole at least. You know, probably test this one. That would probably be an area to take some off at 38,000. But I still think we're going to see a break here. I mean, even the action in Bitcoin tells me like capital is not, you know, well,
risk on is not.
Here's what capital is not. Here's what I'm going to bring this up for you. I'd like this article. You can talk about this a little bit, Bob. Down on his luck, Peloton founder lists his $55 million Hamptons mansion at a loss.
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard, but it is unbelievable. Like he's like, what? Where's the stock price? All right, listen, put the house back on the market.
And he just overpaid asking price $2.5 million. He paid in December, so he's literally been in the house less than 3 months.
He hasn't even swam in the fucking pool.
No, but look at, I mean, I'm going to go squat because look at this place. It's got great lush surroundings. I mean, I can see why it's 55 million. Look at this pool with the cypress. I don't know. They're not cypress trees on the East Coast, but they kind of look like them. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
I don't know what kind of trees they are, but they're beautiful. Look at that.
I got to tell you, 55 million. I got a way bigger deck than that. My deck's not as big as Lori Lightfoot's because she apparently has the biggest deck in Chicago. Or actually, she used an I in that last word. Anyway, Bitcoin, Matt, again, that chart on the monthly, like, I cannot tell you how important this month of March is. I mean, we're only 3 days in.
Well, but the reason I brought up that just as a diversion there and getting back to it is the capital is not flush anywhere right now. Like the right side, the easy money. Here's the thing: like when that easy money is taken off all the speculative names from Snow to Shopify, right? Everything's been like a third, 2/3 to 80% off, and yet the futures are still, only 10% off their all-time highs. So you got to be a little wary that there's no money left to be chasing speculative things, which to me, pet rocks are the biggest speculative along with NFT, right? Like that thing, it's going to go to zero. It's a pet rock. So it's just a matter of time. And the more time we spend here, not going higher means when we go lower, then you got a serious ceiling above you too. So this is what, this is what, the Bitcoin bras don't understand because they've never been in a bear market like this, like they're going to see. And you're going to have all these.
So long since we've been in a bear market, honest to God. I mean, everything I look at, it's 14, 15 years since we've actually sustained lower momentum in something longer than a couple of months.
Right. And we're still in a bull market when it comes to the weekly and the monthly on the S&P and the NASDAQ. So as we've talked about, we're still far out of value. So there's a lot more to go. And again, with the inflation, the price pressures, the consumer's feeling, again, gas here is clear over $4, which is higher than it was in 2008. So, I mean, I remember the first time it hit 4 here, that was like the peak. And I was like, holy shit, that was like, big. It might've pushed up to the high, 5, right around 5 for about 1 day when we spiked to 150. But I mean, that's painful. I don't care. People are like, oh, if you drive a big truck, you're the one. I'm like, give me a break. Like, it's not, those are the people doing the work.
Let me tell you something. If you want to,
drive. I mean, 90% of truck owners don't drive a truck because they got nothing to do but burn diesel, right? They're doing something.
Exactly. They're sheetrocking or they're.
I mean, they're carrying something around.
Plumbing.
So, yeah.
I've never seen more big trucks than here in Bend, Oregon.
It's unbelievable, especially when you're parking downtown. It's like Rancher City. You're like, what the hell is going on here? I can't park.
I mean, I want to share. And again, this is the monthly, and this is Bitcoin from Coinbase. And it's the 3rd of March. All right, I get it. It's the 3rd of March. We got a whole month. I'm telling you right now, though, that this month is going to be key. It's going to be key because both of our thoughts is this thing is going to give it away. And when it does, and if it closes the month, it puts in a big red candle below this 38,966. if it closes anywhere near the lows of January and February, not only is it going to be in lower momentum on the monthly, but the standard deviation modeling and those bands are going to kick south. And now you're fighting. And again, too, I mean, look at this congestion. We counted it the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're about in the 16th month sideways. 16 months sideways. And now that becomes a giant ceiling if we break below it and close below it. Again, anything can happen. Maybe we go and close above 54.5 and return to up momentum in the monthly. And
guess what, Bob?
we're going to 100,000.
Yeah, that's possible. And exactly, play it both ways. I mean, 29 to whatever the high was, 68, right? You got a $40,000 price range. So yeah, if we break above that, it's going to go to 108. If we break below it,
it's going down to that longer term.
We're going to 9.
Yes, the point of control before we blew off to the top. Let's just talk
9,
about that congestion was 8,430.
Yeah, and again, this is just. I mean, this is what when the elevator cable gets cut. We talked about it yesterday. You can say whatever you want. Fundamentally, you can go crazy. Bitcoin, this, DeFi, this, NFT, this, that, the other. You're out of here. Elevator cables
in the room.
Oh,
I love it. All right, Matt. I think that's it. Anything else?
No, we're just crawling back from. Again, we had a little wave there about an hour ago, and we were coming on the show, and they're trying to come back and test the daily point of control. It's just a grind here midday. We're jobs tomorrow. Biden wants to talk to Putin face to face. Good Lord, that would be an interesting one. I don't want to be a fly on the wall.
I think they should just take their shirts off and wrestle a little bit.
My God, it would be great because Biden's like, what is he, like 6'3"? He thinks he's Mr. Tough Guy all the time, and he's never fucking he's never bloodied his fists in his life. I can assure you, he just talks, right? So tough guy.
Oh. All right, Matt. Here, let's just leave this little tidbit out that you shared. Both Vladimir Putin and our Ukrainian comic, what's his name?
Zelensky.
Both
AKA,
of them,
AKA Mr. Bean.
Both of them, World Economic Forum attendees. They scrubbed them. Both of them from the website, right? They pulled them from the website.
Yeah, why don't you bring it up? I sent it to you.
I can't find it, man. I think you listen. I struggle with technology terribly. I think it was in a text. I can't find it.
No, it was in the room.
But yeah, both of them. Again, what is the truth? Well, the only truth that we know is what the chart is telling us. Please join us at marketvitals.io. And
Bob, don't forget also that Biden, he was also on the WEF.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we have a World Economic Forum Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could bring that one up because it's a list of beautiful list of
who's who in the Klaus Schwab bag of tricks.
And not only that, it's a list of lockdown.
Yeah.
Who likes to lock them down?
You got Jacinda, Macron, Biden, BJ. You got Trudeau. Oh, by the way, protesting is now allowed again in Canada since Ukraine is on the table. But when the truckers were there, they were all confiscated and thrown in jail for their peaceful protests. But now, if you're promoting Ukraine in Canada, it's fine. So
let me ask you a question: you think you get arrested if you started protesting pro-Russia?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm saying that from behind the World Economic Forum.
Anyway,
Matt, you have a great day. Please share, retweet, plagiarize as you please, and join us at marketvitals.io. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Bobby.